Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we'll be talking about a science fiction monster film called Underground Monster. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Somewhere deep inside the underground tunnel of a city, the workers are building a subway station, but accidentally finds a strange hole that's releasing a terrible smell. They decide to venture inside to investigate further, and are shocked to see the enormous amounts of garbage piling everywhere like mountains. What they don't realize is that they're surrounded by huge insects, while a giant tentacle follows them in the shadows. The people continue moving forwards and eventually find something very strange, which appears to be a massive egg. Before they can figure out what to do next, the CEO of the company has decided to visit the area personally after learning about what happened. The workers show him the strange egg that they found, and the man tells the people to take the object immediately, thinking that it may be worth a fortune. However, a worker whose name is Dawn has wandered off by himself and eventually ends up getting lost as a result. Very soon, his flashlight begins to malfunction, causing him to try and fix the machine, not realizing that he's waking up something terrifying from behind. The giant creature gets up slowly as the man turns around from hearing the sound, causing a loud scream that can be heard by everyone else. The people rush towards their friend immediately and finds the terrifying man who keeps on telling them that a monster is nearby. They begin hearing noises everywhere around them as all the workers have come together while trying to fend off the incoming threat. Suddenly, a giant tentacle shoots out and grabs onto their friend before pulling him away in blinding speed. The CEO shouts for everyone to run, causing all the people to rush the other way as they're knocked away by the giant tentacles like ragdolls. The people scream in fear as the creature continues sending the workers into the air and toppling the structures nearby. The monster eventually reveals itself as Dawn tries to save his friend, but the man is quickly grabbed onto by the enemy's tentacle and thrown away into the abyss. Dawn screams hopelessly while all the garbage mountains topple onto the ground, forcing the big man to use up all his cardio and escapes the tunnel by the skin of his teeth. He turns around immediately, only to see that the entrance has been completely shut off, causing him to cry for his friend's death. At the same time, a young boy whose name is Jake is playing alongside his father Jing, who's picking up all the nails on the floor that almost flattened his tires. Very soon, they begin seeing all the birds flying away from the area as a loud honking can be heard coming towards them. Jing carries the son away immediately as a truck is rushing towards them, driven by a worker from the construction site who's trying to get away from the monster. The vehicle runs over the nails while shaking violently and dropping off its cargo in the process before escaping down the hills. The father sees this and goes to open the crate, only to see the same egg that the CEO tried to take away from the monster. Jing decides to keep the item for himself as he believes that it must be worth a lot of money, but the son is very concerned about this mysterious object. He goes closer towards the shell while trying to listen inside and is shocked to hear that something big is moving, but the father can only think about how much money he'll make. It turns out that Jing works inside a junkyard and he's surprised to see a fancy red vehicle beside his home, which takes away his smile immediately. Jing begins taking off his wedding ring and brings the boy towards the building, eventually entering the house where they see a woman standing in the room. It's quickly revealed that her name is Lena, who's also the main character's ex-wife, and she's not happy about her son spending time inside this dirty place. Very soon, her new fiance rushes inside and pulls out a collection of fancy toys, causing the young boy to run towards him immediately as the father nearly spits out his drink. The woman looks at the main character like he owes her alimony while blaming the man for being so useless and poor, telling him that he doesn't deserve to be the boy's father. What's even worse, she has decided to take the boy to another province so that her son would have a better future. The fiance tells the main character that he'll bring the boy to the best private school so that he would not end up picking garbage like his old man. This causes Jin to punch him right in the face as the woman tries desperately to stop the violence, but the fight quickly becomes ridiculous while both men begin using their teeth. Lena is forced to sit down in disbelief, eventually causing the woman to take her son away as the fiance fiancé chases after them like a weasel. Later that night, while Jing's father is looking after the man's wounds, their dog begins noticing that something is wrong as the animal continuously circles around the truck. What they don't realize is that the egg inside the vehicle is starting to hatch, causing all the animals to go crazy around the area. The grandpa decides to go investigate the yard, thinking that wild animals are looking through the trash, but is surprised to see that no one is inside the area. He goes towards the truck that's somehow shaking by itself as sticky liquids are dropping onto the ground. The man goes towards the windows carefully and is shocked to see a tentacle inside the vehicle. The old man runs towards Jing and tells him about the creature, while the main character slowly walks towards the truck only to see that the entire vehicle has vanished. Suddenly, an object falls towards the ground, causing them to look up into the sky, and they're shocked to see that the truck has been lifted into the air by numerous tentacles. The creature senses the approaching people and retreats into the vehicle, causing the truck to fall down as a result. Before they can figure out what to do next, the monster attacks the people right away, causing Jing to run back into the building immediately and almost locking out his father as well. What's even worse, they begin hearing another car approaching this place, which turns out to be the man's ex-wife. The main character watches in shock as Jake runs out from the vehicle while heading straight towards the monster, making the father charge out immediately as he yells for the boy to stop. However, his efforts are clearly too late as the boy is grabbed onto by a massive tentacle and is pulled away in blinding speed. The mother rushes towards Jake and tries to pull out her son, but the monster is obviously too strong as it refuses to let go no matter what. Luckily, Jin charges in with a knife and cuts off the tentacle immediately while freeing the boy at the same time. They grab onto the gasoline and the mother pours the liquids all over the truck before she throws the lighter towards the creature and covering the monster in flames. The animal struggles desperately inside the fire as it slowly turns into a barbecue squid, while the father realizes that his ex-wife has just burned away his last bit of savings. After surviving the monster's attack, the father wonders how the creature got in there, and the son tells the man immediately that it was from the egg that he took. Their conversation is quickly interrupted by the fiancé, who charges in after receiving the woman's phone call and quickly sees that no one is harmed. He becomes angry at Lena for calling him over and disturbing his business meeting, thinking that everything was grossly exaggerated by the woman. Before they can finish arguing, the entire place begins to shake as all the lights are malfunctioning at the same time. The main character looks outside the window immediately and quickly sees an even bigger monster inside the yard, causing the men to stumble back in fear. Very soon, the entire building begins to crumble as the people see the tentacles crawling over the windows and surrounding the entire structure. Everyone looks up in fear as the creature starts breaking down the roof and eventually revealing its enormous face towards the humans. The monster tries fiercely to get into the building and starts breaking through the windows, causing the people to scramble in the chaos. The fiancé rushes outside for his life and leaving the woman behind, while all his bodyguards begin to run away as well. The monster roars furiously at the humans while throwing the people into the air and eventually manages to grab onto the fiancé by using its massive tentacle. The creature brings the man closer and begins inspecting him carefully, but eventually loses interest in the human as it throws him away like garbage. The monster turns the attention towards the family and blocks their only way to escape before shooting its tentacle towards the people and pulling Jake away from his mother. The animal looks at the boy closely and eventually notices a familiar scent, causing it to rush away from the area as the people scream helplessly for their son. Their efforts prove to be useless as the creature jumps into the ground, and the people soon realize that the monster has disappeared alongside the boy. The father cries in despair as the mother is stunned in shock, and the man continues digging the ground by using his hand, even knowing that there's no hope of getting back his son. Sometimes later, after Jin has finally accepted the truth, he tries to go and comfort his ex-wife, but only results in the woman blaming him for everything that's happened. Just when everything seems to be hopeless, a strange man rushes into the building alongside his student, who has tracked the monster all the way here. When they find the main character and his ex-wife, the young girl inquires about the monster immediately as they have been looking for the creature this whole time. It turns out that the old man is actually a professor of marine biology, and he examines the monster's tentacle carefully in front of everyone everyone. The man thinks that the people must have killed the creature's offspring, as the monster was probably searching for its baby by using its smell. It's very likely that the creature has mistaken their son for its own child and has taken the boy into its nest, but this also means that Jake is probably still alive. At the same time, the young boy is slowly regaining his consciousness and soon finds himself surrounded by mountains of garbage. The boy slowly gets up and tries to look for a way out, but quickly sees the giant tentacle that's responsible for taking him here. The creature approaches the human slowly and causing Jake to stumble backwards in fear, while the monster towers over the small boy and forcing him into a corner. The animal eventually opens its mask and revealing a terrifying smile that's capable of giving anyone nightmares for days. The creature is confused by the boy's fear and decides to lick the child by using its massive tongue, which only makes the situation even worse. The monster eventually becomes frustrated by Jake's behavior and roars furiously towards the boy while expressing its unhappiness. Suddenly, a loud music begins to play and causing the creature to look around in confusion, but it soon realizes that the noise is coming from its own belly. The monster begins to scream in pain as it falls down right in front of the boy, while Jake is unsure about what to do. The creature eventually rushes behind the huge piles of garbage and tries to spit out the noisy machine while completely ignoring the human. Jake slowly goes towards the monster as it screams in agony while lying on the ground, and the boy tells the creature that he'll help only if he's allowed to go home afterwards. He grabs onto the wires and begins pulling with all his might as the monster struggles to spit out the object, but Jake is quickly able to take out the item that was stuck inside. The creature finally manages to get up as it stares at the boy continuously, eventually grabbing onto the human as it tries to thank Jake for saving its life. The monster slowly puts down the boy and lies back onto the ground once more as it begins resting inside the piles of garbage. Meanwhile, after studying the piece of tentacle, the scientist tells the parents to give up on their son, but the father grabs onto the man and continuously begs him to help. After seeing how desperate the people are, the man finally decides to locate the creature and manages to bring back the hope inside the father's eyes. The professor brings them towards his laboratory, where he keeps numerous statues of monsters that he studies, including a giant snake and a snow monster that's over 200 meters tall. The man thinks that the only way to save the boy is to tranquilize the creature by using anesthetics that are able to put down elephants. He also developed a chemical that's capable of killing the creature, but warns the people that it should never be used unless the monster is evil in nature. On the other side, the monster begins consuming all the garbage around the area as Jake watches in confusion, not understanding why the creature is eating trash. The boy tries to find anything that's edible, but is not able to even get a single drop of water and is forced to watch the monster have its buffet. The creature notices that the child is hungry and begins pushing the garbage towards the boy, but only manages to make him lose his appetite instead. Jake wonders if the creature is only eating garbage because there's nothing else for food, but begins to be entertained by the monster's carefree nature as it throws the trash in the air. The creature starts laughing like a giant gorilla, while Jake begins throwing the trash at the monster's mouth and feeding the animal at the same time. The boy quickly starts bonding with the giant creature as the monster watches the little human intriguingly. Jake tries to play with the massive animal as he pretends to be Ultraman who's fighting the enemy, while the creature falls down from the boy's imaginary attack. As they're having the time of their lives, the construction worker Dawn is contemplating about all the friends that the monster has killed. He plans to take vengeance on the creature alongside all the workers who were able to survive the previous attack. Sometimes later, the boy wakes up after hearing a strange noise from behind the piles of garbage and decides to investigate the area. Suddenly, he's grabbed onto by a stranger who turns out to be a worker that survived the monster's previous attack. He tries to save the boy and plans to kill the creature, but Jake tells him to stop as the monster would never eat any humans. The man thinks that the young boy is delusional as all his friends are dead because of the creature. He promises to bring the boy back to his parents and begins carefully maneuvering across the monster without stepping on its tentacles and waking up the creature. However, the man's plan quickly fails as the monster wakes up after sensing their vibration and begins chasing the humans immediately. The worker grabs onto Jake and runs desperately for his life, but eventually drops the young boy by accident, which causes him to drown inside the wastewater. The man sees the approaching monster and has no choice but to run away as Jake slowly falls deeper into the pond. The worker is eventually cornered by the massive creature as a giant spider crawls towards him from behind. The tentacle monster sees this and roars furiously at the insect and causing the bug to run away, but also knocking out the human at the same time. The creature goes back towards the pond immediately and manages to save the young boy in the last moment, while slowly putting down the human onto the ground. The animal tries to wake up the boy, but Jake is not responsive at all, causing the monster to cry hopelessly as it tries desperately to save the human. At the same time, the professor is preparing to head towards the underground monster alongside the parents, and the mother goes inside the vehicle to wait for everyone else. While looking around her ex-husband's car, she quickly notices a piece of paper which still has the ring for their previous marriage. She looks at the document carefully, and it turns out that the man is actually very ill as he's the victim of a chronic disease which causes the woman to cry immediately. When Jing eventually comes into the car, Lena demands to know why the man never told her about his health. Surprisingly, Jing never thought that it was important as he only wanted to spend more time with Jake and to give him the best possible future that he knows he cannot offer. Their conversation is quickly interrupted by the grandpa as they head towards the underground construction site immediately to find their son. When they finally make it inside the cave, they're surprised to see a bunch of construction workers led by Dawn, who has already dug through the entrance towards the tunnel. However, the workers only want the people to leave as they plan on releasing poison into the cave so that they can finally kill the monster. Jing hears this and tries desperately to stop them as he believes that Jake is still alive, but Dawn only cares about taking vengeance for his friends who died. The main character scolds the man immediately for his recklessness as the poison will only end up killing all the survivors. The grandpa takes the chance and sabotages the machine amidst the argument before they quickly rush into the cave by pushing through the construction workers. The people arrive into the area that's filled by mountains of garbage, and the assistant begins tracing the monster's signal by using her detector. They continue forwards by following the scientist, eventually making it towards the giant monster who's continuously watching over the boy. Jing sees this and tries to run towards the child, but the old man stops him immediately as they can't fight the creature head on. The scientist decides to use the tranquilizer as he aims towards the giant creature and fires the shot, but is knocked away by the monster who realized their presence a long time ago. The creature screams furiously towards the humans, but gets hit by a second shot that was fired by the main character, while the woman throws even more chemicals at the monster. The animal stares at the people in anger and soon decides to put the young boy to a safer location before turning towards the humans to battle. Luckily, the tranquilizers begin to kick in, causing the monster to pass out immediately as it quickly falls towards the ground. The parents rush towards Jake as they climb onto the piles of junk, while the scientist is amazed by the giant creature and begins taking a sample of blood. However, the man quickly realizes that something is wrong as the monster has regained consciousness already and is furious at the people for invading its nest. The creature turns towards the parents right away and tries to grab onto the boy, but is knocked away by a flying arrow that was shot by the construction workers. All the people begin to surround the monster as they aim to take the creature's life, but this only enrages the animal even more. The monster launches the tentacles towards the workers and knocking the people into the air, but the humans quickly start to retaliate as they begin throwing hooks onto the creature. They manage to hold down the monster temporarily as the others have found the deadly poison that the scientists have brought. The workers plan to use the weapons against their enemy while the old man tries desperately to stop the people, but only ends up failing as a result. The monster screams furiously towards the attackers while Dawn takes the chemical and throws the weapon right into the creature's face. This causes tremendous damage to the animal while Dawn continues trying to kill the monster as as he shoots a massive arrow into the creature's chest. The humans are quickly gaining the advantage of the fight as Jake begins to slowly wake up and is shocked to see that the people are killing his friend. The workers continue to throw the chemicals at the creature, which is quickly killing the massive animal, causing the boy to scream in tears as he begs the people to stop. The monster finally hears the boy's voice and is happy to see that the child is still alive, which gives it hope once again to fight off the humans. The creature gathers all its energy and tosses the people into the air while throwing them onto the garbage mountains. A worker sees this and begins lighting up the dynamite, but ends up tossing the bomb towards the parents and blowing up the area, which knocks off the boy at the same time. Luckily, the monster is able to grab onto Jake in the last moment and saving the boy's life right in front of everyone, despite all the injuries that the animal sustained. However, Jing quickly notices that something is wrong as a mountain of garbage begins falling towards the boy, but the monster rushes in right away to protect the human. This gravely injures the giant creature, while Jake watches hopelessly at his friend suffering and realizing that the monster is very hurt. Things become even worse as all the construction workers begin to surround the injured animal as they vow to take vengeance for their friends. The people start to attack the creature by piercing through its belly, while the boy screams hopelessly for his friend, but the workers are blinded by rage as they all refuse to listen. The monster looks at Jake and tries to reach out towards the boy one last time, but Dawn stabs the creature right in the heart and kills the animal in front of everyone. The man pulls out the spear, revealing all the garbage that the monster ate, but there's no trace of human bodies anywhere. Very soon, the survivors appear in front of the workers and tells the man that the monster did not eat anyone, as the giant spiders were the ones responsible for killing the humans. The workers drop all their weapons to help their friends, while Dawn slowly turns around to look at the creature and realizes that he has become the true monster. Sometimes later, Jing is finally brought together with his son, while Lena begins to look at her husband in a different way. The woman decides to give the man a second chance as she plans to marry him once more, and the two embraces in happiness while Jake watches from afar. The man is later interviewed by the news reporter about his encounter with the monster, but the man refuses to call the creature by that name as it never killed anyone. He begins describing all the lives that human beings have destroyed by killing the environment and questions the viewers who they think the real monster is. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.